Less than 12 hours after 21-year-old Shell Alpert took his iconic photo from Coast Guard Air Station Salem, another UFO event was recorded down in Hampton, Virginia on that same 16th of July day in 1952. This time, the witness was Paul Hill, Assistant Division Chief for NACA's Pilotless Aircraft Division at Langley Air Force Base. NACA was the National Advisory Committee for Aeronautics before it was assimilated by NASA in 1958. Hill joined NACA in 1939 after earning a bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering from UCal Berkeley in 1936. By 1952, he was quite accomplished and would go on to many important contributions before exiting the world stage in 1990. All of this is said to establish his credibility. On the night of the 16th of July, 1952, at 2100 Eastern Standard Time, or 9 p.m., Hill was on Chesapeake Avenue, 2 blocks west of LaSalle Avenue in Hampton, Virginia, and east of Newport News, with his companion and future wife, NACA librarian Miss Frances Hobick. He described the event, paraphrased, as follows. Observing from the ground, looking south over Hampton Roads, 2 amber lights, further apart than they would be on an airplane, approached silently from the south at an angle of 10 degrees and flying to the north. These 2 amber lights then made a 180-degree turn toward the west. The apparent altitude varied from about 10 degrees when they were first sighted to about 20 degrees altitude at the middle of this turn. As these 2 lights made the turn, they jockeyed for position in a jagged movement. About this time, a 3rd light came out of the west and joined them, placing itself right beneath the other 2. There was no variation of intensity or change in the appearance of the lights as they turned. The 3 lights proceeded south at constant altitude for a while, and then seemed to be climbing until they were roughly twice as high as when first seen. After traveling south a minute, 3 other lights appeared to join them to form something of a circle before fading out in the distance. The entire incident lasted 3 minutes. Given both these sightings are pretty old, and one is almost never discussed, you may wonder why I consider them worthy of your attention. Regarding Shell Alpert's photo, Project Blue Book's Captain Ed Ruppelt opined, "Without questioning anyone's integrity, my first impression is that the picture is a fake. The alleged saucers appear to have been painted in. Their somewhat irregular wavy edges indicate as much." Well, that must have been devastating for the morale and reputation of the young seaman who took the photo. The Air Force initially attempted to classify Paul Hill's sightings as airplanes, but Captain Ruppelt's dissenting comments on this case were far kinder than the words he used in fear of being hoaxed by the daytime photograph out of Salem. On Hill's Hampton Lights report, Ruppelt stated, "The man from the National Advisory Committee for Aeronautics was a very famous aerodynamicist and of such professional stature that if he said the lights weren't airplanes, they weren't." The problem with Captain Ruppelt's split assessment of the day is that the 2 sightings are inextricably linked. If the Virginia sighting on July 16th is ruled to be valid in your mind, then it is one hell of a coincidence that the earlier sighting up in Massachusetts, calling out the devastation on human mental and physical health, is a mere hoax. It wasn't. I say this because if you look at this aerial view of the approach and retreat of the Hampton Roads UAP lights, they very effectively highlight the Lambert Point and C&O Railroad coal terminals. The low angle of the approach of the lights to Paul and Frances on Chesapeake Avenue suggests that the more respected NACA engineer was chosen to support the younger Shell Alpert. This linen postcard shows the old C&O coal terminal that was in Newport News, and this aerial reveals the property is currently under the control of Dominion. These moving images from the 1950s show Pier 4 at Lambert's Point in full dusty operation. Air pollution from coal not only causes a reduction in intelligence, studies have shown that air pollution leads to increases in aggression and violent behavior. Shell Alpert's stunning photo shows that UAP warned us about this 69 years ago. It may take courage for humans to expose a government and an industry that has ignored these warnings. In conclusion, for those of you who appreciate the use of fiction to deliver incredible news while avoiding abuse or ridicule, note that Paul and Francis Hill are clearly represented by the characters of Dr. Russell Marvin and his new wife Carol in the 1956 film Earth versus the Flying Saucers.
July 16. To Internal Security Commission, Ray Skyhook. Summary and progress report from Project Director Dr. Russell A. Marvin.